Good evening, my Move the Chains audience. We are back posting it, moving the chains. Super Bowl's over, football's over for a while. 7 months, not betting, not watching. It's okay. I got content to produce. You guys love me producing it. I got to keep doing it for you guys. I love you, love my fans, everybody. Thank you. So, last night was an absolute beatdown from the Philadelphia Eagles last night. Eagles, Eagles, not Eagles, like some drunken Philadelphia fans thought. So, Eagles won last night in what was an absolute beatdown from the jump. And I want to talk about the Eagles first, and then I'll get into the Chiefs. Eagles deserve to win that. They deserve to win it all year long. I've been critical of Nick Sirianni. But clearly those guys like him in the locker room. They got a good thing going. And this team's just loaded. That Howie Roseman, the general manager, has done an excellent, absolute, fantastic job of building this team, developing the talent, and to win Super Bowls with two different coaches, two different quarterbacks, and to go 2 times in 3 years is just incredible. Now, there is some benefits to it. They're in a bad division. Until recently, Dallas had kind of that split it with them, and then Washington was so bad, and the Giants. So I get the Eagles have kind of had a freebie lately with that division. But the Commanders, I don't feel like are going nowhere, and it's just them two right now moving forward. I am impressed with the Eagles all year long, the playoffs. Saquon Barkley literally carried them to the playoffs, and it's just so cool to see Saquon win. And my dad was asking me tonight, is he a good guy? I'm like, high character guy, no bullshit. He's kind of one of those high floors guy in the scouting community, can't bust. And, when he was in New York, he didn't bust. I just think the Giants suck. And, what a shame that organization has become from what it used to be. When they had Tom Coughlin and they were racking off Super Bowls and even Bill Parcells, and they've just fallen on hard times and they can't get out of their own way. I've compared them to the Steelers. I feel like that they had Hall of Fame quarterback play, and they've just fallen off. And to see Saquon win a Super Bowl the same year you traded him in division, it's a sucky feeling this morning for the Giants, and it has to make you absolutely sick. And Saquon just is a great dude, great guy, like I just mentioned. And I'm proud of the Eagles. Matt Heitman, whoever's watching this, I know you're a big Eagle fan, and you're happy. And listen, I would be too. And, it's funny with Jalen Hurts. He's just different. I kind of think he's got like that Russell Wilson kind of vibe to him, where nothing's too big. He's kind of smaller, can squat 600 pounds. Like, he knows what he is, he knows what he isn't, and he's cool with just winning. And it helps when you're the son of a coach. So you have that maturity and discipline. I believe his parents were educators, like my mom was before she passed away. R.I.P. By the way, always repping you, mama. But I just think the Eagles are well run. They got their shit together. And I heard something very interesting today as I was driving around. It's great having you guys in late tonight. Is that I do think there's an inner and outer scoreboard. And what I mean by that is inner scoreboard, like they don't care. They're just doing it for the game. And they don't have to flash. They don't need to boast. They don't need to do all that shit. When I see a lot of guys doing that, I think they're insecure within themselves. And listen, that happens for everybody. We all have that. I know I do at times. I know women do at times. But I just feel like Jalen Hurts just got this in him. And I also think he's very unique because Philadelphia is a loud city, right? Chicago, New York, Boston, especially the East Coasters. They're passionate. They're relentless. Sometimes over the top, whatever. But they care. And, I think Jalen just kind of is like this steady rock and just this calming presence, the constant, as Triple H once said when they were talking about the wrestlers, and a couple words to describe him. That's kind of how I feel like with Jalen. He's just constant. And I have nothing but respect for him. He was overlooked, doubted, went to Bama, then had to transfer. He's just gone through a lot. And, it's funny at the time, they've taken guys, and this is what you have to do when you're taking a team, is that you take blue chip players with blue collar mentalities. I think that's what the Eagles have done. And that you take them from great programs. Georgia, Alabama, a little bit from LSU. You kind of take elements of it and you spread it together and you build this continuity of football team. And the Eagles have that. And when Jalen came out, They obviously tried the Carson Wentz thing, and he had to sit, and he got benched. And obviously the Carson Wentz thing blew up in their face. I got it. But that Carson Wentz trade opened the door for what this team has in terms of the exodus of talent that they have with the Landon Dickersons and the Devontae Smiths of the world and all those guys. So Howie Roseman deserves credit for that move. Had they not moved off Carson Wentz, I don't know if they'd be in the Super Bowl right now. So, hats off to Howie Roseman. The Eagles deserved it. Great win. Happy for Saquon. Jalen Hurts. I mean, there could have been 4 MVPs last night. It could have been Vic Fangio on that defense. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and obviously a couple more people. But congratulations to the Eagles. Next year, I think they're the betting favorites to win again. I wouldn't be shocked. The other thing that I think the Eagles should do is go get Myles Garrett. Now, it would be unfair, but I think if any other NFC team, you're looking around going, we got to play with these guys. You got to get better on the lines of scrimmage. I think Green Bay needs to do it. I think all the NFC North teams need to do it. I mean, 32 teams are going to line up for Myles Garrett. That's not disputing that. But I do think the really, really good teams, the Green Bays, the Buffaloes, they got to get on that phone and call. Now, I think there's 3 teams in the NFC North that could do that. The Bears, not the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings, and Lions. I do think they could go make the call. And I would dive into it because Detroit mainly, and all the other teams in the NFC, you got to look and go, you got to do this move. Because you got to make an impact, man. So, we got to see what happens with the Eagles in the offseason. Is Kellen Moore leaving? I heard he got the Saints job, but we don't know. Schefter reported that the other day. But I'm just so happy for the Eagles. And for that city of Philadelphia, they've just built a power, man. They've always been good, even when they had Andy Reid. But last night, they stole cold stunner the Chiefs last night. So I wanted to talk about the Chiefs. Listen, Patrick Mahomes, I have seen him live twice. I mention this all the time. It's probably ad nauseum. But Patrick Mahomes is special. And he's just a great kid. He's a gamer. He's tough. Guys love him. And he's accomplished a lot early on in his career. Last night was not one of those. He has trailed in all 5 Super Bowls. And maybe, I don't know what the reasoning for that is. Maybe he just needs to get the jitters out. I don't know. And Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame coach, no doubt about it. But last night was coaching malpractice. I mean, to not adjust, to not do anything on the fly, when your quarterback's getting bell rung and you're running all these deep bang 8 routes, when your quarterback's got 2 seconds to throw, you had all that lengthy halftime to do shit, and you didn't do nothing last night. Shame on Andy Reid. And I respect the hell out of Andy Reid. He's a great coach, Hall of Famer. I defend him for years in Philadelphia. He had Donovan McNabb. He had all these other guys taking him to the playoffs, getting there. Some guys that were not easy to coach. Michael Vick. Jeff Garcia was a little wild and all that stuff. And, I appreciate Andy Reid. I love Andy Reid. He deserves, Brett Favre should thank him because Brett Favre kind of got him going in Green Bay as a quarterback coach. So, I do think the Chiefs, and listen, let's just start with the Chiefs. They're going to be okay. They're going to win that AFC West until somebody else proves me otherwise, okay? They're going to be fine. They got the receivers intact. Kelsey probably is going to retire. You got to go get a tight end in the draft. But I do think last night was also a wake-up call from the standpoint of Philadelphia just beat the shit out of them last night. And I was thinking about this today at work. Like, my whole life watching NFC football, it's a black and blue conference. And, I go back to all these defenses that I've seen with just nasty defensive lines. Tampa Bay go back. They play, unfortunately, my Raiders. The Giants against New England. You just look down the list. And I'm watching last night, and this reminded me of Patrick Mahomes or Peyton Manning playing Seattle with that defense just loaded on all 3 levels. The pass rushers were great. The linebackers were flying around. And your secondary, it was hard to do anything against. It felt like the no-fly zone. And Patrick just could not get comfortable last night. And you just kind of figured it's going to be a long night. And Patrick Mahomes, now we got to start wondering, we can put the GOAT shit to rest, okay? Listen, I think he's great. And I'm not trying to do this. We did this prematurely. We do this to a lot of guys. And I'm a victim of it too. I drank the Kool-Aid, okay? I'm not going to lie. However, though, at the same time, to me, you got to do better. And I think Andy Reid's going to figure this out. I think Brett Veach are going to get in the lab, and they're going to figure this out. it's going to stink for a while. I don't know what a Super Bowl losing that's like. I'm sure the hangover is a big thing, but they've been accustomed to this, been there, done that. But I felt like the Eagles last night just came in more looser, more free. And I felt like the Chiefs played really tight last night, unlike them. So, congratulations to the Eagles. Chiefs got a long offseason, but as long as you got 15 and you got Andy Reid and you got that brain trust with the Hunt family and all that, you're going to be okay. I want to touch on, I'm going to do my predictions tonight, but I want to touch on Aaron Rodgers. Jets cut him. He is now gone, and this marks 2 times in the last 3 years that the Jets and the Packers have bailed on him. And I kind of had a thought today that this is maybe why you should always kind of think twice before you leave. And maybe Aaron could have done things better. I think if you got dumped in the last 2 to 3 years, it's on you, not anybody else. And I think Aaron Rodgers, to me, and I love Aaron. I'm not trying to bang on him. But I think we could have kind of established now. Like, he's moody. He's getting older. He's prickly. He's just not... He's not a foxhole guy. There's a Baylor quality. He's not a baller. Good mood, bad mood, Aaron, we don't know. But it's just sad because, and I think he also looks at his contemporaries, guys that left, they're respectable teams. Peyton Manning left Indianapolis, went to Denver, won a ring. Tom Brady went to Tampa, won a ring. Brett Favre had some success, got the Vikings to the NFC Championship game, one throw away, which was Brett Favre's fault from a Super Bowl. And Aaron Rodgers didn't do any of that in New York. Now, where does he go? Your guess is as good as mine. I've heard the Raiders. I really don't. I would prefer Sam Darnold. I know everybody's going to bitch at me. And I made this argument, like the top of the top and then shithole. I get it. But Sam Darnold's younger than Aaron. He's... I know he's reckless, Sammy is, and he's my guy. But to me, you get younger, you get cheaper at quarterback. I think Sam Darnold could probably get the Baker Mayfield treatment was what my guess would be. And we got to see. I mean, we got a long way to go. But hearing that Aaron Rodgers news tonight kind of made me realize, like, it's on Aaron. Like, maybe next time don't be so moody and prickly and all this stuff. And maybe, you wouldn't got cut. And you wouldn't have been surprised that Green Bay cut you. Or the Jets. And it's just a shame because, he got hurt. And, you're just seeing it now like a guy that's just old. And, I know Aaron Glenn, he's trying to take that mimic and take the Colt Detroit thing that he had to New York and start the Jets and get them back to where they need to be. And I do believe that with the Jets. I think they have a good roster. But I just think with Aaron, like, you're kind of, I think you're done. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes back and plays. I don't know. Where does he go to the Titans? I know he's got a house in Nashville and there's no income tax, but yikes. That's not a good thing. So, plan to see Aaron Rodgers somewhere, or maybe he retires. I don't know. But all I know is that guy is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen in his prime. And it's a shame he's only got one Super Bowl. But damn it, that guy's good. And he's got one of the best arms I've ever seen. So I want to touch on tonight, last but not least, my NFC South prediction. So, I was right on the year. I had Tampa Bay. I had Atlanta finishing second. Saints, I think, third, and Panthers fourth. But I'm going to change this up now. Tampa Bay is going to be fine. Listen, they lost Liam Cohen. They lost Dave Canales. They're going to be okay. They still got a really, really good football team. I take them to win the South any day of the damn week. I'm sorry, I do. I trust Baker. I trust Todd Bowles. I trust Jason Light. That brain trust down there. They got a good team. Now, they got to add some more depth and stuff like that, but it's not far off, okay? I think you might lose Chris Godwin. Who knows? He might go to the Raiders. He might go to the Chargers. Who knows? You still got Mike Evans. You got McMillan, who came on strong. You have good players. I think Tampa Bay, for me, could use some more O-line depth, some more receivers. They're not far off, and they've been a playoff team the last couple of years. Really respect the job that they've done. The Atlanta, to me, is kind of puzzling to me. And you know what's funny with the NFC South? It's always been a weird thing to me. Weird division. I think it's because, Tampa Bay's got the Florida Gators in their backyard. The Falcons got the Georgia Bulldogs in their backyard. The Saints got LSU. and the Panthers have, North Carolina or Duke, wherever you're at in that North Carolina state. So it's always been an odd division for me. But when I mean Atlanta's weird, like, I don't know what Atlanta's going to become. I love Michael Penix. I said it. God's my witness. I'm a fan of the kid. I do think he could succeed down there because of the weaponry, because of what they have at offensive line with Bijan, with Pitt, with London. They got some weapons and toys for Michael Penix to play with down there. And I don't think Zach Robinson was a bad coordinator last year. I just felt like the offense was a little bit better with Michael Penix just seeding that thing down the field. So we shall see what happens. I think Atlanta needs to keep getting pass rusher. For some reason, this organization's got a flaw. They can't find one. Outside of Vic Beasley that one year, they went to the Super Bowl. It's just kind of been weird. And I think the Saints, to me, they had a weird, awful year. 2-0 start, 91 points in 2 games, killing everybody, and then they got figured out, and then Derek Carr got hurt, which to me it just feels like he's getting hurt all the time now. So I just don't know where this team's at. I think the Saints, to me, is a job that if you took it, you're going to have to rip this shit down the studs. I do not think it is a Houston Texans situation or a San Diego Chargers situation where the pieces are in place. You just need a coach to fix it. This is different. You got to figure out with Derek Carr, what is going on with him. This roster's old. I said it before this going into this year. With the predictions I made was I like the Saints, but they're an old roster. It's old. Kamara's old. Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger. So you just got a lot of parts that I'm kind of unsure about. But I do like some of the pieces on offense. I do. But I just worry, though, with the Saints. I feel like it's ripped down the studs kind of thing. Now, they're going to get Kellen Moore, I've heard. I heard that he might take the job after the Super Bowl. We don't know. But this is a job I think it's going to take a couple years to get back to where it was under Sean Payton. And the last but not least team, I think, is Carolina. And listen, I'm a big fan of Dave Canales. The work he did with Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, and then Bryce Young last year was awesome. And I think Carolina got a lot better down the stretch. To me, I like Carolina's momentum more than I do New Orleans, I just mentioned, because I feel like Bryce Young got so much better down the stretch. And, I listened to him on Dan Patrick. He's a great kid. Now, do I think he's ever going to be C.J. Stroud, Jane Daniels? I don't know. Let's walk a little bit before we make that assumption. Because I still think Bryce Young has got room to grow. But I feel like Carolina, to me, they got a lot of components I like. They got a run game. Their line's okay. Add more depth to it. Get more weapons for Bryce Young. There's always 3 Ps when it comes to rookie quarterbacks. Young guys. Protection, play caller, playmakers. I believe Carolina's got the play caller right with Dave Canales. But I just don't know about the protection. It's okay. It's not great. And playmakers, Adam Thielen's nice. I like Xavier Legette. I love Tommy Tremble from Notre Dame. You got to have more pieces. And then defensively, I love what they have. Now, it's not what it was when Luke Kuechly was there. Obviously, there's no doubt about that. But I'm saying you have some pieces there. So watch out for Carolina. They're going to be a team, I think, that could be on the rise moving forward. So hope you guys have a great night. Stay tuned throughout the week. We got a lot more content to post. Adios. Godspeed. Love you.